He's lost in the heart, in the cavern of nature. He's found in the brain, where he builds up the thought. In the pattern and bloom of the flowers he's woven, in the luminous net of the stars he's caught, in the strength of a man, in the beauty of woman, in the laugh of a boy, in the blush of a girl. The hand that sent Jupiter spinning through heaven spends all its cunning to fashion a girl. These are his works and his veils and his shadows. But where is he then? By what name is he known? Is he Brahma or Vishnu, a man or a woman, bodied or bodiless, twin or alone? We have love for a boy who is dark and resplendent. A woman is lord of us, naked and fierce. We have seen him a muse on the snow of the mountains. We have watched him at work in the heart of the spheres. We will tell the whole world of his ways and his cunning. He has rapture of torture and passion and pain. He delights in our sorrow and drives us to weeping, then lures with his joy and his beauty again.
Ma'am?
All music is only the sound of his laughter. All beauty, the smile of his passionate bliss. Our lives are his heartbeats, our rapture the bridal of Radha and Krishna. Our love is their kiss. His strength that is loud in the blare of the trumpets, and he rides in the car and he strikes in the spears. He slays without stint and is full of compassion. He wars for the world and its ultimate years. In the sweep of the worlds, in the surge of the ages, ineffable, mighty, majestic and pure, beyond the last pinnacle seized by the thinker, he is throned in his seat that forever endure. The master of man and his infinite lover, he is close to our hearts, had we vision to see. We are blind with our pride and the pomp of our passions. We are bound in our thoughts where we hold ourselves free. It is he in the sun who is ageless and deathless, and into the midnight his shadow is thrown. When darkness was blind and engulfed within darkness, he was seated within it, immense and alone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jai Shri Krishna. How are you? All good? Okay, so let's begin with the 30-second silence in which we invite the divine, invite God to speak, to hear, and to help us to comprehend. Promni ma'am said that we should have weekly sessions so that whatever we talk about gets imprinted in our mind by being repeated, and corresponding questions and answers and we continue this journey with a little more intensity. So, what we've planned is for including this Tuesday, then the first Tuesdays in a row, we're going to discuss four important questions of our life. Today, we're going to discuss who am I? Next Tuesday, we'll discuss how can I simultaneously identify with the inner presence as well as the outer presence. In other words, how do I connect my outer being and my inner being? In other words, how can I connect with the divine? This is going to be our discussion, and the methodology that Sri Krishna has given in the Gita will be the subject matter of the second Tuesday. That's the next Tuesday. The third Tuesday, we will discuss why should I come on this path? What is the advantage of this path? And the fourth Tuesday, we will discuss the aim of our life. What really should be the aim of our life, or what is the aim of our life, or how am I thinking about the aim of my life? Yeah. On the fifth Tuesday, we will discuss the difference between meditation and concentration, and maybe even discuss what is meditation, and we will try to meditate on certain lines of Savitri which have helped me in my journey of meditation. Question 1, who am I? Question 2, how can I simultaneously identify with both the inner presence and the outer being I call myself? Question 3, what is the advantage of this path? Question 4, what is the aim of my life? As you wade through life, dear students, try and answer these questions to the best of your ability. It is not only that while I'm a student, I have to think about these questions. Even we adults, we teachers, all of us, parents, we need to think about these questions all through our lives. We have to try and answer them to the best of our ability. We must spend time reading texts that may give us different perspectives to be able to reach the answer. And the answer may keep changing as we move through life. We may meet personalities, we should try to meet personalities who may tickle our curiosity and lead us to think deeper until more and more meaningful answers start emerging from within us. I urge each one of you to keep these four questions alive through your life. Why? Because they will keep reminding you of the journey of conscious transformation, which you had initially embarked upon. For those students who remember the story of creation, which we've done so many times, which I'm ready to do as many umpteen times, how did this world, this universe become what it is? How did God expand himself and become this universe? So in that we had discussed, and we will go on doing that till the whole story becomes a part of my being. So today we will discuss question 1, who am I? Now, I'd like to ask, my spiritual group of students will know the answer in one go. So let me ask some new faces. Tanya ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
who are you?
Ma'am, I feel I am I'm an individual who's growing every day and learning a lot from my children and learning a lot in this difficult time. Also, missing my school, missing my children, and just going by and just taking life as it is bringing
Coming to you.
new adventures, new things.
So basically your answer is I'm an individual. Ruchi ma'am,
Good afternoon, ma'am.
good afternoon.
Basically, yes. When we look outside, we are a body built of muscles and bones, but internally, we have our soul and we have our emotions also. We have our feelings inside us. So, we are a complete package, we can say.
Okay, so we are a mixed
But
bag.
We are, yes, always trying to make ourselves better day by day.
So according to,
Internally,
okay, so according to Ruchi ma'am, we are a mixed bag of body, bones, emotions, mind, and a soul. Mixed bag of all these, right? Okay. Saroj Singh ma'am.
I'm an individual, ma'am,
You're
sent by
in,
God to do
okay.
do the good for the society and everyone.
Okay. Saroj Singh ma'am says, we are an individual who's been sent by God to do good for the society. ठीक है. I'm not going to ask my students because then they will give the whole lecture instead. Shlok, I'm not asking you. Sarthak, I'm not asking you. Because फिर मेरी जगह आप ही लोग बोल दोगे या आप लोग से पूछें. Sarthak, would you like to tell me who are you? Or first should I tell you the story that I have prepared for today?
Ma'am,
Where-
first story.
First tell the story. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the story, and I've told the story often in school. The story of a hen and an eagle's egg. So there was a hen, there were many hen in a farm, and one of the hens had laid a whole lot of eggs, and it was just under a tree. And by chance, an eagle had laid lots of eggs, and one of the eggs fell down and got mixed up in the hen's eggs. Yeah. Now the hen looked at all the eggs and she thought, wow, one of my kids is going to be much stronger and bigger because one of the eggs looked quite different and bigger and stronger. But she thought, like we say, Ishwar ki marzi, God has given me one bigger baby, so I'll look after it. And she looked after all her eggs equally with as much love. And they all popped out, and lots of chicken came out. And from the eagle's egg, came out a eaglet. And she thought, well, God has given me one different child, and the others look like all my other children. So she brought up the eaglet the same way as she brought up her chicken, making them eat those little danas, thoda thoda khilate the, and taught them how to fly how much? From here to here. That's what the eaglet also learned, because her mother hen told her, you are a chicken and you will grow up to become a hen. So that's what she was told. Like we are told when we are children that I am an individual. You are an individual. You are a human being. Huh? Nothing more than a human being. हम इंसान हैं, अब इंसान से तो गलतियां होती हैं, ये तो इंसान की कमियां हैं, इंसान तो लिमिटेड होता है, हम भी लिमिटेड हैं. This is the way we've been brought up with this kind of conditioning. We don't know any better. Similarly, the eaglet knew nothing better. One day the eaglet saw a big giant something flying in the air, and that something had huge two wings, huge big wings. And the wings were so strong that the eaglet would just flap them twice and it could glide for a long while in the air. And the eaglet looked and she asked her mom, the hen, she says, wow, what's that? And the mom said, oh child, that's an eagle. It's a majestic bird, almost like the king of birds. But you and I are only hen. We can only, that's it. That is the story of our lives. We've been told by our parents, by our teachers, and by our school, you are only humans, limited human beings. And nobody has told you your real identity. Now I ask you, who had given me the answer? Let me just find you. Saroj ma'am, Tanya ma'am. Yeah? If you are an individual only, then were you Tanya in your last life? Bag of bones and emotions and mind? The same bag of bones and emotions and muscles and mind in the last life, and the same Tanya in the next life, and the next life, and the next life? No. This bag of bones is going to finish. But how can you say I was in the last life if there is nothing that is actually continuing? What is it that is continuing from past life to this life to say, that was me in that life, and this is going to be me in the next life? There must be some continuation.
Mama, karmas.
No, karmas get exhausted. After death, we move from one world to the other. Someday we will discuss this too, just with the teachers. Our karmas get exhausted as we go through the vital world and the mental world. The karmas get exhausted, but something continues which goes into the next life. Let me give you another example. Tanya ma'am, Saroj ma'am, and one more ma'am had said, I forget her name. So when a body has died, when somebody has died, what part of that has left the body? That the brain is still there, it stops functioning. The heart is still there, it stops beating. The blood vessels are still there, they stop circulating. The stomach is still there, it stops digesting. What has left the body?
The soul.
Yes. It is the soul that was there in your last body, whatever body there was, continued, came into this body, will continue and go into the next body and the next and the next. So who is it that you are? That which continues, or this time when I'm wearing these clothes, I'm wearing a yellow shawl. I become this shawl? Do I become this shawl? And next time when I change my clothes, I become somebody else? Tell me, Tanya ma'am.
No, ma'am.
That which continues is who I am. So I am the eternal, undying, unborn soul. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is something that every educationist must remember to tell its students. And when can we tell our students? When I myself know that, I myself believe that, I myself is living with that identity. I'm recognizing myself as that identity. Then when I say those things to my students will believe me. Otherwise, they will be just words. And students will be able to tell the difference between words and what we really believe in. And it is this presence that we have to start learning to identify ourselves with. We must be able to. So today, I will attempt to take you on a journey and show you through Apt Vakya Praman who you really are. Apt means one who has realized, one who has attained, one who has realized the immortality, one who has realized the divine. That person is called Apt. Vakya means his utterance. Praman means proof. So he who has attained, he who has realized the truth, the reality, his words become a living testimony. तो उनके वाक्यों के द्वारा, उनके प्रमाण, उनके शब्द ही प्रमाण है, और उनके शब्दों के द्वारा, उनके वाक्यों के द्वारा, I will take you on a journey to realize कि who am I? हम कौन है? आप कौन है? In essence, हम कौन है? Right? And this is the education that Seth M.R. Jaipuria School has decided to give to its students. Right?
I would like to say one thing which we were taught in the spiritual retreat.
Please, please, it will help all of us.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we were all told that we are a physical, vital, mental, emotional, and a spiritual being and a soul within.
The spiritual, very nice. So I am a physical being. The physical part of me is also a reality. It is not any maya, it is not any illusion. The emotional, what we call in our text, we call the Annamaya Sharir. Then we are the Pranamaya Sharir, that which is the emotional, the life force. And then we are the Manomaya, the mind, the mental being. And we are the psychic being. Then we are the psychic being, the soul.
Ma'am, I am a part of the divine.
I am part of the divine. Very nice. Absolutely. You are the divine. Because we have always learnt a verse, Purnamadaha Purnamidam. Purnat Mudachyate. So that is Purna, the divine is Purna. He's perfect, he's complete. And when he became the many, Bahusyam, each one of the many was
Mom,
Purna,
radiating or reflecting.
right?
Mama, body is radiating or reflecting light, which is shining bright after even our death, which is also known as soul.
Which is also known as,
Soul of our inner body.
okay, the soul leaves the body after, when the body dies. When does the body die? When the soul leaves the body.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
So,
after death also we are shining, radiating, and reflecting light to the person in which our soul is being going.
okay.
Ma'am, it's just like we wear a different set of clothes, but we are
Yes,
the
Yes,
same.
ma'am. Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
exactly. So we are wearing different sets of clothes. This body is a different set of clothes. And when the soul leaves this body and goes into another body, it has worn another set of clothes. Right? So, honey, is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So that which is radiating is the soul,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. So now coming back to our talk. Who am I? I am that luminous light within. I am the soul. I am the Atma. I am the Ruh, which was, which is, and which shall be. And I am, we can also call ourselves Satchidananda. I am Sat, that which is existent. I am Chit, which is awareness, consciousness. Yes, I am Chit, which is consciousness, and I am Ananda, I am bliss. Right? Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, Mamae Vansho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhutah Sanatana. Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, it is an eternal portion of me that becomes the Jiva in the world of living creatures. You know, this is 15th chapter, 7th shlok. Does any student remember the full verse?
Yes, ma'am.
Please, Sarthak, yes, go ahead. Please tell us the full shlok.
Ma'am, mamai vansho jeev loke jeev bhuta sanatanaha mamai shashtanindriyani pravritisthani prabhatibhi.
Beautiful, Sarthak. Thank you so much. I think we all can clap for Sarthak. Very nice. So, Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, he says, it is an eternal portion of me only that becomes the jiva in the world of living creatures. Sri Krishna describes this luminous soul as the eternal portion of him that becomes the jiva in this universe. Each one of us, in reality, in the words of Sri Krishna, Sri Aurobindo, an eternal individual, an eternal, unborn, undying power of the one existence. Each one of us is, in reality, an eternal individual, somebody who never dies, an eternal, unborn, undying power of the one existence. You know, there was never a time when I was not there. Natveva ham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipa न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे vayamataha param. It is not true that at any time I was not, nor thou, nor these kings of men, nor is it true that any of us shall ever cease to be hereafter. Does any child remember this verse? So Sri Krishna tells Arjuna of the eternal nature of the universe, of the eternal nature of each one of us, and the eternal nature of himself in these very words. Yes, my dear. Suhani, you'd like to say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, it's written by me. I wrote it in spiritual program which was held in school very late at 2014.
Okay, go ahead.
The soul or Atma, credited with the ability to enliven the body, was located by an ancient anatomist and philosopher in the lungs or heart, in the pineal gland, discards, and generally in the brain, is known as soul or Atma, which is also known as an inner soul.
So, generally, Suhani, what Sri Krishna has told Arjuna is that he is in the center of the heart cavity here.
Yes, ma'am.
Here. All right. So thank you so much, Suhani. Thank you. So actually, my dear students, and this is something my spiritual group of students already know, that this universe is not a creation of God. If it is not a creation of God, what is it? Who will tell me? Which one of my students will tell me?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am,
What
it
is
is
the
God
word?
itself.
Okay, but we use a word for it, that this universe is not a creation of God. It is, it starts with B. It is a becoming.
Yes,
Yeah, we don't call the universe a creation of God. We call the universe a becoming of God. Because creation, like you see the painting at my back, now that painting has been done, that artwork has been done by an artist. The artist is not with the artwork, right? She's sitting somewhere else. Is the universe something that the divine has created and he's sitting somewhere else?
no, ma'am.
No. Why? Because he has become the world. You have learned that verse, the spider, how he knits the web from inside him. The Mundaka Upanishad, it has been given that I, just like the spider has created this whole web out of himself, just like the spider takes a web out of himself. Similarly, this whole universe has actually come out of the divine. The divine has expanded himself and he has become this universe, right? God has become the universe. You know, the word bhava, bhava means to become. And why do we use the word Bhavani for Shakti? Because Bhavani means she who has become the world. She who has become all this, Bhavani, right? He has expanded himself and expanded himself and expanded himself, and he has become other than what he is. Anyasya chittam abhisancharenyam. He has become other than himself. The perfect has chosen to become the imperfect. The immortal has become the mortal. Light and wisdom has become exactly opposite. They became darkness and ignorance. Love and ananda have become their opposites. And this is his divine plan. It has not happened by some quirk of chance, you know. It's not like, are koi mistake ho gaya, some big bang happened and all this happened. It has happened because the divine had planned this to happen. Which student remembers this verse? Does any student want to read out this verse or remember it from their memory? यथोल नाभि सृजते गृहते च यथा पृथिव्याम ओषधय संभवन्ति यथा सतः पुरुषात् केशलोमानि तथा क्षरात् संभवति विश्वम. From the Mundaka Upanishad. And here the Rishi is saying that as the spider creates his web from within himself, as medicinal plants grow from the earth, as hair grows from the living person, similarly, the universe extends out of the immortal divine. And just like the spider can pull the web back that he has created, he can pull it back within himself. Similarly, the divine can take back the universe within himself, pull it back if he so decides. Someday, if you want, if the students want, or if the teachers want, we will revisit the story of creation. Remember, we did it in the spiritual retreat? How this universe came into being. What were the processes? What the rishis have seen? What has been stated in the Rig Veda? We will revisit that whole story of creation. Why? So that we come to know how this universe became. What is my relationship with this universe? What is my relationship with God? So, to understand all that, we have to revisit some of these stories again and again and again. Now, you would wonder why I'm going into this detail to assert to you our reality. I am doing this so you understand that the reality of our existence, the reality of you, the reality of me, the reality of this universe, so that later on in life, you do not come under the influence of Mayavad. You do not come under the influence of illusion. And you do not start believing because of certain people who are confusing you. Are, you are an illusion. You are all Maya. There is no such thing as you. There is no such thing as me. There is no soul. So that you never get pulled into the net of illusion and Maya, I am repeatedly saying this again and again to you. I repeat the 7th verse of the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Sri Krishna candidly tells Arjun that it is his eternal portion that has become the jiva, the soul in each one of us. Mamay vansho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatana. It is an eternal portion of me that becomes the jiva in the world of living creatures. Bhagavad Gita 15:7. The right way to understand, we can stop sharing. The right way to understand this statement is that within each one of us lives our real self, the real me, that has been traveling from life to life to life, from birth to birth to birth, and which will continue to travel through births. Now, the question that arises then is, who am I? Am I this imperfect outer being? Or am I this perfect inner being? Am I the imperfect outer being? Or am I the perfect inner being? The answer to this question is, I am a layered being. In my inmost reality, my reality is that I am the divine. As the Isha Upanishad says in the 16th verse, Soham asmi, Soham asmi, Soham asmi. I am the perfect, I am the eternal, I am the infinite. Soham, Soham means I am like him, I am him. Now, this is my inmost reality. Then, in my inner being, I am connected to the entire universe. And I will just show to you how we are connected to the entire universe. In my outer being, I am an imperfect jiva, which is gradually moving towards perfection. It depends on how conscious I am. The more consciousness I have, the faster will be my evolution towards becoming a more and more and more perfect being. Everything depends on how conscious am I, how consciously am I transforming myself. What is the motto of Seth M.R. Jaipuria School? What is it called? It is called the School of Conscious Transformation. We have to consciously transform ourselves. Dear students, dear teachers, you will be amazed to know that there is only one universal matter, or what is called Anna. And we are as much a part of that matter as a drop of water is part of the ocean. As much a part of that. A drop of water can never become separate from the ocean. Imagine the whole cosmos as one body, and yourself as a cell in the body. Now, even when one cell suffers, the whole body suffers. Suppose I have a pain in my tooth. Is my mind able to concentrate on what work I'm doing? My whole consciousness goes to the tooth. Or if I have a thorn in my finger or in my foot, the whole body suffers. Similarly, if I have a physical illness, the cosmic body also suffers. When I say I and the universe are one matter, it means that this physical body, the air, this table, this glass, this water, everything in the universe is actually one matter. I will show to you how we are different, and I will show to you, I have told you how we are one. But I'll just tell you, we have all studied the law of energy in physics. Most of us have. We all know that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Albert Einstein said very clearly, he said E is equal to mc square. Energy and matter are equivalent and they can change the form. Energy can become matter, matter can become energy. Energy can only change from one form to another, right? There is one universal energy or prana. So first we talked about matter. Now we are talking about prana. You know, in Indian philosophy, we call it annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya. So first we talked about the annamaya, the matter, this matter, this matter, this matter. Now we're talking about the prana, the life force inside us, that which gives us that force, that which moves into the emotions, that the vital being, what we call the vital being. Now, our prana or energy or life is part of the universal prana or the universal energy. So, every time I feel a positive energy within myself, or I spread love, or I spread harmony, or I say something that is really positive, or I think positive emotions, I don't even have to say them. Even when I think positively, what do? I uplift the universal energy. The entire universal energy gets uplifted. Now, every time I spread a negative feeling, like say hatred or jealousy or anger, or if I sit down and criticize somebody else, what do I do to the universal energy? I tarnish the universal energy. I bring down the universal energy, like just like a glass of sparkling water. And if I put a drop of ink in it, that's what I do to the universal energy. Whenever I spread a negative feeling, or I spread a negative thought, or I even think a negative thought, I bring down the universal consciousness. I bring down the universal energy just a bit down. So, this is the oneness of matter, and this is the oneness of prana or the universal energy. Now, what about the mind? There is one universal mind, and our mind is a part of that universal mind. Every time we come up with a grand idea, or every time we make a discovery, like Einstein discovered, or Alexander Graham Bell did, or anyone, Jagdish Chandra Bose, every time there is a creation, a discovery, a beautiful thought, it becomes very useful for the world, and we raise the universal mind to a higher level. But every time we have a negative thought, what do? We tarnish the universal mind and bring it down a notch or two. Such is the effect that we have on the universal mind, on the universal prana, on the universal matter. So, do you understand how important it is to keep our body healthy and happy in absolute ease? What is disease? Disease is dis-ease. When the body is not in ease, it is in disease. And when the body is in disease, the universal body suffers. For the sake of the universal body, for our sake, because we will discuss the aim of our life on the fourth Tuesday. For bringing ourselves to perfection, we must keep our body healthy and happy. Our vital being full of love, full of harmony. And then we will be able to raise the universal consciousness of the vital being a notch higher. And similarly, our mind should be full of positive thoughts, positive ideas, positive creations and discoveries, and we will raise the universal mind by a notch. Now, a question should arise in our teachers and in our students, and that is, why do we experience the separation? The separation of this outer body, outer emotions, outer mind, and this inmost being, my soul. which is the real me? Why is there a difference between the two? And let me tell you, my dear teachers and students, that this distance that we experience is created by our ahankara, by our ego. The problem is that this mind needs to divide and put things into different boxes. And then it looks at each box and understands this box, then it understands this box, then it understands this box, then it understands this box. That's the way the mind has been created. It's not a fault of the mind. The mind needs to divide and then it's able to understand. And that is why our rishis, our great sages, what they did was they divided and explained. For example, when they talked about God, they said, well, God is Satchidananda. He's Sat, he's Chit, he's Ananda. Now, Sat is that which exists. Chit is his consciousness, that which creates, his power to create. The creatrix force in him is Chit. So we can say Sat is he and Chit is the she. But he and she are actually one. But to be able to understand, they divided it and they said, this is Sat. He, that which exists, this matter. Chit is the consciousness, the awareness, the energy that creates. And when Sat and Chit are experienced as one, then we experience Ananda. So the divine is Sat, Chit, Ananda or Satchidananda. The rishis explained it as Purusha and Prakriti. The rishis explained it as Shiv and Parvati, Krishna and Radha. Now, they are one, but only to be able to understand, they divided so we could understand more clearly. This being is one, but it was divided by them as the Anna, which is the matter, then the Prana, the life force, which is the vital, and the Manomaya, which is the mind, which is the mental, only to be able to understand. But actually, all this is one. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamev cha sthitam bhut bhartri cha tajgeyam grasishnu prabhavishnu. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, he is indivisible. He tells Krishna that he is indivisible. He is the one, but he seems to have divided himself in forms and creatures. That is why, if we want to know and become one with that reality in our consciousness, that is why, if we want to know and become one with the reality in our consciousness, if we have to become real, if we have to become that which I am in my inmost reality, then we have to arrive at the consciousness of unity, at the consciousness of oneness. We have to arrive at that consciousness of oneness which is beyond the mind. But this does not mean that we bypass the mind. Someday I will tell you the story of Rishi Agastya and Lord Indra. I think some of our spiritual retreat students may remember the story if I've told them before, that Rishi Agastya was going so fast towards the supermind, was going so fast towards the divine, that he tried to bypass the mind. And Lord Indra, what he did? He came and tried to stop Rishi Agastya. And Rishi Agastya said, why are you trying to stop me? I'm only trying to reach the divine. You should have no problem in that. So Lord Indra said, dear Rishi Agastya, it is all good that you want to understand the divine and become one with the divine. But it is not possible till you satisfy the mind, till you satisfy the curiosity of the mind. So first we have to satisfy the curiosity of the mind. We have to delve into spiritual questions and answers. We have to delve into spiritual literature. We have to read, we have to understand. Even our daily stuff that we study in school, everything we try to find the deepest point in it. We will be able to find something spiritual, some divinity in every subject that we are studying. And when we go on delving into these kind of questions and answers, read and understand, satisfy our curiosity, then one day the mind reaches the stage of quietude and the mind becomes silent. Then we reach the stage when we can go beyond the mind, right? So, dear students and teachers, I will just repeat the slide again. Who am I? I am that luminous light within. I am the soul. I am the Atma, the Ruh. Call it what you want. That Atma which was, which is, and which shall be. Let us for a second, let us for 5 seconds close our eyes and just concentrate on that light within, that which I am. I am not an illusion. I am Satchidananda. I am Sat, Chit, and Ananda. I am self-existent. I am consciousness. I am bliss. His form cannot be experienced by the senses. It can only be experienced through intuition. Those who know him as seated in their heart become immortal. Shweta Swatara Upanishad. So this was our discussion, our answer to the question, who am I? On the next Tuesday, we will discuss how can I simultaneously identify with both this inner presence and the outer being which I call myself. How can I connect with this inner being? How can I keep connected with this inner being? How can I get stationed in this inner being? Right? Now the floor is open for questions from anybody, our students or our teachers.
What I wanted to ask is, ma'am, that if any negative thought comes to our mind, how does it tarnish the universal consciousness and brings it a notch down? How does my thought affect the universe? This is what was.
Yes, it's a very beautiful question. Very beautiful question. See,
Thank you, ma'am.
if there is a glass of water and you put a drop of ink in it, what will the water become? Nidhi ma'am, what
It,
color will the water become?
ma'am, if it is blue coloring, then it will become blue.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, this whole universe is actually one body. There is one energy, and there is one matter. There is one mind. There is one being. The difference is, you know that, na, that matter and energy are interchangeable. Something is white. See, there is only one substance. The divine has become the whole universe. Now, if you take gold, the gold can become a ring, it can become earrings, it can become a necklace, right? But
Yes,
in
ma'am.
essence, all of them are gold. Just because it has taken different forms doesn't mean the essence has changed. Does it mean the essence has changed?
No,
The
ma'am.
essence is gold. The divine, and this has been given in the Vedas. The entire process has been given in the Vedas. The rishis have seen the whole process happening. In fact, the whole process is given in those 2-3 verses which are called the Agamarshan mantra in the Vedas. Ritam cha satyam cha vidat tapsodhya jayata. Tato ratri jayata tata samudro arnava. I mean, in brief statements, the Vedic rishis have put in the entire story of creation. If one essence, one presence, one divine has expanded himself and decided to become something else, anyasya chittam abhisancharenyam, he's decided to become other than himself. But the substance is only one, na? There aren't two substances. So,
Yes,
if there is that kind of oneness in the universe, and if I think a negative thought, that negative thought has power. I'm not even saying if I say that negative thought. I'm saying even when I think that negative thought, The thought has power, and it instantly tarnishes the thought process of the whole world. What happens? This Chinese virus, somebody had come up with this movie 40 years back, but the thought had power. That thought that China will come up with a virus and will spread it and use it as a weapon, biological weapon. That thought was given power by becoming a movie or by becoming a novel. And slowly, slowly, that power actually materialized itself. That is why when our children play these kind of negative games on the, whatever they call those games, and they're just killing and they're destroying and they're killing and they're destroying, they're adding to the violence in the world. But who is to explain to these people who create games? You can have as much fun in creating. You can create flowers, you can create harmony, you can create, whoever creates more can get more marks. But no, what do? They just teach violence. And that is why you see that in this world, violence is increasing so rapidly. Our games are adding to it, everything is adding to it. There is only one substance, ma'am. There is only one substance. There is only one substance which has become matter, which has become the prana, which has become the mind. And we are able to affect that substance because in essence we are one. The mind has divided it, and the ahankara, the ego, has materialized that division, has strengthened the division, where I say I am this and I only want the betterment of this. But the day we start, working on our inner being, connecting with the soul, which we'll do on the second Tuesday, or on Saturday for my management institute in Indore, we will discuss how can we connect. And it's all from this Bhagavad Gita. It is the simplest process that we have to follow so that we are able to connect with the soul inside. I have a granddaughter living in this building. And then when she's just 9 or 10 years old, or 8, 9 years old, and she understands that there is a cave here. And she understands in 1 or 2 sessions, she's understood that the cave doors, inside the cave is the soul, the light. And every time we say something negative, we say a lie, we sit down and criticize people, the cave door gets another lock, and another lock, and another lock, and another lock. She's understood it because it has been given to her at such a young age. And she's understood that every time we think a positive thought, we think of the goodness in people, we enhance our goodness, the locks start opening. They start opening. And she keeps saying, Badi Ma, now the cave door must have opened a little now, Badi Ma. It's so beautiful. And tell me, how difficult is it? It isn't. And this must become part of our education. But this is real education. Right? Have I been
Yes.
able to answer you,
Thank
ma'am?
you so much, ma'am, for enlightening and empowering. It was such a easy and such a simple description, but we people are not able to understand. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you
My
so much.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for the beautiful question. Yes, Sarthak, you can tell. Always you can tell.
I'm very fortunate, ma'am, that we had a session today because tomorrow is my birthday, and I'm very happy that I got such a good gift in the form of this session.
Wishing you a
Like,
Go
yes,
ahead, go ahead. Go ahead, go ahead.
ma'am, like now I can see that it is not but it is my soul's birthday.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. I will send some very important words of the mother on what should one do on one's birthday. I will send them to Archana ma'am, and Archana ma'am will send it across to you. And you must do that tomorrow. You must be having classes tomorrow, right?
Yes,
But
ma'am.
on your birthday, you must take out some time, or as much time as possible, because this day is very special. On your birthday, the mother says the soul actually has an absolute opening to the divine. And so the more time that you can take out to connect to the soul spontaneously will be in the hands of the divine, will be enveloped by the divine. And you can make that journey and come back so empowered. So, whatever parties you want to do, reserve them for today evening or for day after. Tomorrow, as much silence as you can be in, as much solitude as you can be in, try and use this day for the real purpose of your birthday. Parties you can do 364 days. The 365th day keep for yourself, for your soul's growth. Okay? I'll send the words to Archana ma'am and she will send them to you. Yeah, the words of the mother.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you
I'm
so much,
so
ma'am.
happy, Sarthak, wishing you a real Ananda and real bliss and real connectivity with your soul tomorrow. And that connectivity, which will lead to 364 days of greater and greater progress of your physical being, greater and greater progress of your emotional being, which should get full of love and harmony, and greater progress of your mind. Yeah, that's
Yes,
the
thank you
wishes
so
of
much, ma'am.
Seth M.R. Jaipuria School for you, and my wishes for you. Yeah,
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you so much,
my,
ma'am.
thank you.
Ma'am, this is, I just want to share, it's a coincidence. Last
Yes.
night I got a share about Robert Darwin's power versus force.
Okay.
And I spent like till very late, early into the morning searching what it was. It was a very beautiful share. I tried to understand it. I looked up the Wikipedia about esotericism. I learned a few new terminology. And the coincidence is that what you have just explained,
Oh,
it just puts everything in a nutshell.
how beautiful
I'll
is that?
share that with you because it was all about how we as human race in these times are, our consciousness, the way they're measuring consciousness now.
Yes, they are
There's
measuring
a good study
consciousness.
going on in this and how we are raising the, the negativities or the positivities and how it's in our control.
Yes.
And I spent the better half of my last my night searching on this. And thank you so much. I've got my answer. Thank you
How
so much.
how beautiful the divine is, how he makes things happen. Now it's like a jigsaw
Definitely.
puzzle, and he just
It just
puts the
falls.
pieces together and the puzzle gets completed. How
It
beautiful.
does.
I'm so glad,
Definitely.
Kanika.
Ma'am, I want to share something.
Yes, Swani, please go ahead.
Ma'am, may you have heard people talk about the connection between the mind, body, and spirit.
Yes.
Many people have a hazy interpretation of what it means, but it simply pertains to an individual's mental, physical, and emotional, spiritual health. And ma'am, this is the great meaning of mind, body, and soul, which I think.
Okay. What is a great meaning? What is a great explanation?
Ma'am, having a hazy interpretation of what it means, but it simply pertains to an individual mental, physical, and emotional, spiritual health.
Yes, you understood it perfectly because that's the way Sri Aurobindo has explained it with so much simplicity. There's no haze. There is a physical body, there is a vital or emotional body, there is a
Ma'am,
mental body. Yes,
Ma'am, as we know that soul is inside the body, but the
yes.
soul or Atma is credited with the ability to end living. The body was located by ancient anatomists and philosophers.
Okay. So is that a question or a statement?
Ma'am, a statement.
Yes, absolutely. So we have to be able to, only when we are able to divide ourselves and see ourselves as a body, then we can work on the body, but not thinking that this body is an illusion. This body is existing. And what is the aim of our life? To make it more and more and more and more healthy and perfect. Then
Ma'am,
we have,
soul, mind, and body defines a complete human being.
no, it
I
does
think
not.
so.
No, it does not, Bitter. It does not. When we say soul, mind, and body, we are leaving the vital part of our being. So it is very important to understand the terminology body, vital, and the mind. This is the
Ma'am,
outer end.
Ma'am,
Yes.
what I have learned in today's meeting is the actual self is the soul, while the our body is only a mechanism to experience the karma of that life.
Yes. The body is a mechanism through which we can experience the soul. So we need to make the body healthy. We need to make the body disease free. Then we have the vital being, our emotional or vital being, which what is called prana in our philosophy. And that prana has to be made full of more and more love and harmony. That vital
Ma'am,
being has to become healthy.
ma'am,
And
one
then
more thing I want to share, but I never shared, so I am thinking to share.
first you have to get this clear, because you are again and again saying what generally philosophers say, mind, body, and soul. But that is missing out a very important part of your being. What
Mama,
part of matter, vital, and mind? First, you get that clear, then we move to the next.
okay,
Have you
ma'am.
have you
Yes, ma'am.
understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Matter, body, right? Matter is body. Then there
Yes,
is a
ma'am.
vital body, which is the emotional body, and then there is a
Mama,
mental body. Yes.
ma'am, our body reflects our inner being. If our mind, body, and soul are in balance, then our body is in balance. The body is a complex machine which I am thinking designed by the nature or God to serve the spirit or soul within our society, and without the soul or connection to the vital life force, the body is useless. After that, the body decays and cannot function. So, how can a soul can function?
The soul doesn't die. When the
Yes,
soul
ma'am.
leaves the body is called dead.
Ma'am, the
Yes.
soul is an energy, so it cannot be destroyed, created.
Yes, it cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed, because the soul always is. Right?
Ma'am,
Okay.
the human spirit includes our intellect, emotion, fears, passions, and creativity, or something else.
Yeah, so this, not the intellect. That's why I keep telling you the intellect or mind is separate from the vital. And
Ma'am,
you're going on saying mind, body, and soul. And I'm going
ma-
on telling you it is mind, vital, and body. So you start from the most gross, which is the body. Then you move to the subtler, which is the vital being or the emotional space, and then come to the mental space. But there is a difference between the vital space, my child, and the mental space. Someday we
ma'am,
will discuss what is the difference between the two. Yes, go
okay,
ahead.
ma'am.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, these were some thoughts which I was having, but I didn't share in anyone in any meeting, not in spiritual retreat. But after all this, I shared.
Very nice, Suhani. I'm so happy you shared it. Jetli ma'am. Yes, Shweta
Yeah,
ma'am.
ma'am,
Please.
I do not know whether this question is authentic or I do not know. It just came to my mind. My issue. Does the soul has some emotion?
The soul
Once
uses the
it is
emotions.
out of the body, once it is out of the body, uh, does it have some emotions?
When it is out of the body, the soul carries the baggage of the psychic being. Now, this is another
Negative,
realm.
positive, both, ma'am. It
Yes,
means it's
yes, it carries it.
things that negative, positive, both the emotions are there in the soul.
It is not in the soul. The soul carries the baggage of our negative and positive emotions that have been left unexhausted while we were living. For instance, I'll give you an instance. Now, in my life, I have some great ambition. I want to have a big farmhouse. Now, that's my ambition. And I go on nurturing that ambition. I want. So, and I have not been able to get the farmhouse in this life. Then that ambition or unfulfilled desire is carried as a baggage by the soul. It is not part of the soul. The soul carries the baggage. And then it goes to different worlds. That's another, we'll have to make another talk of it to explain the different worlds in which the soul has to go to exhaust its unfulfilled desires, what we call baggage. बोलते हैं ना अपने कर्मों की पोटली
मैम
लेके चलते हैं.
मैम द वे आई जितना भी मेरे को नॉलेज है या जितना मैंने दूसरों से सुना है दिस इज व्हाट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट मोक्षा फॉर द सोल एंड निर्वाणा it is said
हाँ.
it is, your all your desires have been fulfilled or it is you no more desire thing in the world then you get the moksha but if in the world that you all are living that desire doesn't stop it can be for yourself, for your family. It can be for say, for anyone in the society. That desire never stops. Do you think so there is? something called like one life, second life, third life. If we are supposed to get something in the second life, why? I do not know. Do we really get a rebirth?
Of course, we get rebirth. There are so many proofs of that. So
Ma'am,
many.
so why don't we remember that last time I was this, so this time I'm this, I'm supposed to evolve more.
Because by remembering it, if it would have helped your progress, you would remember it. But because remembering it is not going to help our progress, so God doesn't give us the memory. He gives a memory to those people who it may help in their progress. By remembering in my last life, so and so did this to me, and so did that to me, I did this there, then you will be living this life and you will be living that life. Confused soul will become. We don't need to remember. God gives us all that we can do to progress now, provided we become conscious of His presence within us. If you come for the talk on Saturday, you will understand through a story of Uddhav and Krishna. They have a discussion, and through the discussion, he explains how we are not even, if we don't want to become conscious of His presence around us, then what can he do? He has to just wait. And he's waiting. He's waiting with his arms like this. Come to me. Remember me. And he says, मैं तुम्हारे अंदर ही हूँ. इससे और पास तो हमारे हो ही नहीं सकता था वो. माने how could he have been closer to us than be inside us? इससे पास वो कैसे हो सकता? मंदिर भी जाना नहीं है, कहीं जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, मस्जिद जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, गुरुद्वारे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो यहीं बैठा है. बट अब अगर फिर भी उसको याद नहीं करेंगे, फिर कृष्णा मूर्ति मैं क्या करूं? मैं क्या करूं? बताओ मैं क्या करूं तुम्हारा? जब तुम्हें याद आए. एंड देन कृष्णा से कोई जल्दी नहीं है मुझे. 1 जन्म, 100 जन्म, 1000 जन्म, लाख जन्म, 2 करोड़ जन्म लेते जाओ. आई एम इन नो रश. बट it is only when you will become conscious of who you are, and only when you become conscious and you become stationed in that which you really are, and only from there you will interact with the outer world, not from the mind, not from the emotions, but you will interact. Even when you're having a glass of water, you will remember me. You will offer to me every drop that you're going to drink, and you will invite me into it. Everything. You're studying for the exams, and you just invite me. It takes 2 seconds. I invite you into this preparation. I'm making this video for my students. I invite you into this. How long did it take, Shweta ma'am? Oh Krishna, oh Jesus, oh Allah. I invite you into this presentation I'm making for my students. Not even 10 seconds. But Krishna tells Uddhav, अगर उतना भी time नहीं है आपके पास, तो कोई बात नहीं है. I love you. My love for you will never reduce. I will wait. 1 जन्म, आधा जन्म, आधे से भी याद, या 1 जन्म, 10 जन्म, 100 जन्म, 1 करोड़ जन्म, it doesn't matter. मैं तुम्हारे पास हमेशा अंदर रहूंगा.
Ma'am, I want to ask something. Ma'am, why diplomacy, ma'am, why truthfulness and sincerity are mocked?
Those who are mocking are closing the cave doors, right? जो हमारे अंदर ये केव है, उसमें आत्मा बैठी है. अब अगर कोई हमको मॉक कर रहा है, हमारे बारे में हमको क्रिटिसाइज कर रहा है, तो वो अपना केव डोर बंद कर रहा है. हमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Who am I working for? I am working for this mirror that is inside me. Why do I have to work for the world vision? What the world is saying for me? Because the truth can see the truth, right?
Diplomacy is prevalent.
Shlok, diplomacy is prevalent because people are still living only in the outer. They're not bothered about the inner. So they just want outer progress, and they feel कि हम by diplomatic होने से, झूठ बोलने से, हम किसी की आंखों में थोड़े से grow कर जाएंगे, तो वो temporary joy उनको मिल गया. But आनंदा with a capital A नहीं मिला. What have they got? Pleasure. Remember in the spiritual retreat, we showed the difference between pleasure, happiness, and Ananda. So they have got the pleasure, the lowest. But let them be. We don't have to judge others. We have to, Shlok, only look at ourselves, judge ourselves, and make for ourselves higher standards. I want to become like this. Once I reach here, then I find for myself a higher standard. And then I climb, and reach here. Why? Because the purpose of my life is that I want to live in the real being. I want to be stationed here and I want to work from here.
Ma'am,
बस अपने आप को देखो.
And
Yes.
ma'am, does consciousness take away the innocence of child?
Consciousness cannot take away innocence. Consciousness will not take away innocence. It will only add to your beauty of mind because you'll become more and more aware of the reality.
the soul symbolizes a spiritual part of humans, regarded in its moral aspect or as believed to survive death and be subject to happiness or misery in a life. To come, arguing the immortality of the soul, the emotion part of human nature, the seat of the feelings or sentiments. Ma'am, does this symbolize soul?
No, because what we have studied, what we have learned as moral science, this is right, that is wrong. Now somebody has been brought up from childhood believing that eating non-veg is wrong.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
is immoral. For me, to kill any animal or any fish and eat it up is immoral. But
Yes,
if
ma'am.
for somebody else, they've been brought up eating non-veg.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
then to say that you are doing something wrong or you are doing something immoral, that's not fair, right? So morality is something that is man-made, human-made, but the consciousness is beyond moral science. That is why we don't have any more in Jaipuria school periods of moral science. What are we working at? We are working at the consciousness of the reality, the truth. That is our consciousness, awareness. Remember, we said Sat, Chit, Ananda. Now, when you go to Chit, the awareness, the consciousness, that would be able to guide you much better than what the mind will be able to guide, because mind is conditioned by the way we have been brought up. All right. If from childhood my parents have told me, oh, it's okay, you need to have more and more and more and more.
Ma'am, what my parents have taught me from my childhood is the spiritual meaning of soul is the soul. The soul is the driver in the body. It is the ruhu or spirit or atma, the presence of which makes the physical body alive. Many religious and philosophical traditions support the view that the soul is the ethereal substance, a spirit, a non-material spark, particular to a unique living being, is told by my parents.
Very, very good. This is exactly the description of the soul. It is ethereal and it is always there. It was always there. It will always be there. It never extinguishes, it never dies. The second chapter, in which chapter Sarthak would be able to quote, Mona ma'am would be able to quote from the Gita, the verse about the permanence of the soul, that fire cannot burn it, water cannot drench it, it cannot be killed. It is always there. Mona ma'am, you want to recite that verse from the Gita, please?
I recall another verse, ma'am.
Okay, whichever verse you're comfortable with.
न त्वेवमहं जातु नासं न त्वं नीमे जनाधिप न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयं तः परम्.
Very nice. Thank you, ma'am. Can you explain? Give us the meaning.
मैम, ना तुम्हारा नाश होगा, ना ये सारे जो राजा हैं सामने, इनका नाश होगा. हम सब हमेशा सर्वे वयमतः परम, हम सब हमेशा से इसी तरह रहेंगे और रहते आए हैं.
ना ठीक है ना. All right, Suhani. हाँ
This
मैम.
is, are you talking of that shloka? न जायते म्रियते व कदाचन.
नहीं नहीं मैम, वो वाला. हाँ, ये भी ठीक है.
हाँ, ये भी बहुत
कई
सुंदर.
श्लोक हैं इसमें.
हाँ, कई श्लोक है. कई बार कृष्णा ने अर्जुन को बताया है कि
न जायते म्रियते वा न कदाचिन भविता न भविष्यामः.
No, न जायते म्रियते व कदाचन नायं भूत्वा भविता व न भूया अजो नित्य शाश्वतो अयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. न it can be killed and it will always remain eternal. ठीक है सुहानी? Anybody else wants to say something? There is Shlok,
Ma'am,
Sarthak, and
when
Suhani.
someone else make a judgment, and if we are in place of that person to whom the judgment is being told, then why do we cry? Ma'am, people make judgment and then we cry.
If we are crying, then for a minute we are crying because we are hurt because somebody has judged me, right? Right? But after 1 minute, we should become conscious again that it is my mind which is looking at the judgment. But now, where do I have to look at this judgment from? Tell me, Shlok, who am I? Am I the mind? Am I really the mind?
No, ma'am.
Am I the vital being which is
the
feeling?
inner self.
Am I the vital being which is feeling the hurt? No. Am I this body? I am the soul.
No, ma'am.
I am the soul. And Isha Upanishad,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
first verse is
Ma'am,
Isha
the infinite.
Yes, the eternal soul. So what do we have to do? We have to take that hurt and pour it inside the soul. Why? Because Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. Everything belongs to the soul. So this hurt also doesn't belong to me. When it doesn't belong to me, why should I sit down and, oh, I'm so hurt. He has judged me. He has said some miserable things about me. For a moment, yes, it will hurt. But then we have to become conscious again. Why? Because in nature, I am Sat, I am Chit, I am Ananda. I am consciousness. So I bring my consciousness together and I say, this hurt that I felt, I am going to put it in an Anjali. This is an Anjali. And I'm going to pour it to God who is within me, who I am. And suppose you put your finger in fire. What will happen?
Burn.
Now this inside me is Ananda, right? Sat Chit Ananda. Now, when you take a dip inside the pool of Ananda, what will happen? What will you experience? What? If you take a dip in a pool of Ananda, what will happen to you? What will you experience? We will experience
feel free and happiness.
Yes, we will feel and experience Ananda. And that Ananda, that joy, that bliss is right here within me. Now, if I choose not to take a dip in it, that's my problem, right? Somebody has judged me. I felt hurt. For a second, I allowed the hurt to go into me. And I said, oh my God, this hurt doesn't belong to me. Because the Isha Upanishad, they said, everything belongs to the divine. The divine is sitting here. His nature is Ananda. I will pour this hurt into the divine. And from there, I will pick up Ananda, take a dip in the waters of Ananda. 2 seconds, 2 seconds. I will close my eyes, pour this hurt inside me, where Ananda is sitting. I will take a dip in the Ananda and I'll come back shining and happy again. How easy is that? Or is it very difficult? Yes, easy, no?
No, ma'am.
It is easy. Try it next time. Okay? All right, children? Very nice. Someday we will discuss the journey of the soul. I just felt that my students are still very young, but teachers, we can discuss the journey of the soul after death someday. All right? Thank you, Suhani. Thank you, Sarthak. Thank you, Shlok.
Thank you, ma'am.
Infinite gratitude to you. And I just feel that through these talks and attending these sessions, we Jaipurians reach a stage where we do not bring down the consciousness, the universal consciousness. Let us not be instrumental in that. And perhaps that is your aspiration when you speak to all of us. That's
yes, absolutely. You've got it completely on the mark. Thank you so much, ma'am, for bringing it all together to this one point. This is the aspiration of Jaipuria School for all its students and its teachers. That we never, ever consciously or unconsciously bring down the universal consciousness. That we always add to raising the consciousness to the next level. Half a minute of silence, 30 seconds of silence, and a gratitude to the divine for being there, for taking us on this journey. It is his decision. Yes.